My mother-in-law invited my husband's ex to my son's gender reveal and told me that she wouldn't love me as much as her, so I recorded all her awful comments about me and showed them to my husband. Plus all updates. My husband and I have been together for 7 years now. I remember at the beginning of my relationship with my current husband it was senior year and my mother-in-law would have his ex, let's call her Sam, sleep over every other day after they broke up. My husband would invite me to sleep over for peace of mind. It was so weird. Sam would sleep in bed with his mom and my husband and I in the room down the hall. My father-in-law is rarely home because of his job, so he had no idea what was going on. My husband then told his mom that it was making both him and I uncomfortable that Sam was sleeping over. She responded with, "This is my house, I can have whoever I want over if you don't like it." So we left, with our minimum wage jobs, to a studio for $1,800 rent. My mom did not take us in since she was not on board with us being together in the first place. At that time I was so frustrated with this lady just wanting to make things so uncomfortable for me and drive me away. I didn't realize how it must have made my husband feel that his mom would prefer his ex than him. Things worsened. Every day on his way home his mom would call him asking for some kind of favor, whether it's to buy groceries or clean some kind of mess in her house. At some point my husband got tired of going every day and expressed to me that he just wanted to go straight home for once, so I offered him to go and get the groceries so he can go home. When I showed up at her door with the bread and gallons of milk my mother-in-law was livid. She said to me, "Why are you here? Where is my son? I don't want you here. Get that poop and go. I don't need that." I responded to her, "As per your son's request I am dropping this off to you," then left. This infuriated my husband and he refused to go to her house for the following 2 weeks. She then played the victim card saying that she hasn't had any food or drink and how house is becoming a mess. My husband told her that she has Sam that can easily for groceries and clean for her. By the way, my mother-in-law can drive and clean on her own. Later she would invite both of us to visit. Coincidentally, Sam was there every time. I pulled mother-in-law to the side and expressed to her that it makes me uncomfortable. Sam didn't even live there, she was invited every time we were invited. My mother-in-law then told me that she sees Sam as daughter and will never love me as much, so I have to accept it. I continued to offer her help thinking she'd come around to like me or even accept me. She would continue to reject me, but my husband would ask the favor to help clean. So sadly I still helped, all while her making snarky comments and complain about everything about me. We slowly went down to visiting twice a month even though we lived only 5 minutes away. When COVID started I started to become close with my sister-in-law. We would talk every day and at some point I opened up to her about our mother-in-law. To my surprise, she told me how our mother-in-law has made her go through the same thing. She also had to deal with the ex constantly for everything, even holidays. This was a wake-up call for me. I felt like I was walking in her footsteps. My nephews are 9 and 10. I am not going to deal with Sam for that long, especially with my kids. 2021 I became pregnant with my son. My husband and I were looking at gazebos to rent for the gender reveal. My mother-in-law said save the money and we can do it at my house. It will be great. Well, the title spoiled it. She invited Sam. This ruined it for me and husband. We spent the entire time focused on actually family and friends. I was also upset with Sam because she's so thick-skinned and cannot feel that we don't like her in our party. After, my sister-in-law told me that my mother-in-law was simply looking for a reaction. I felt like I was part of a circus. A few months later, I was going to Lowe's to build something for my son and I felt bad for the separation between me and mother-in-law, so I offered her if she wanted me to get anything from Lowe's. To my surprise she said yes. She asked for orchid mulch. When I brought her the mulch I offered to help her plant the orchids in a pot and she said she'd rather wait for Sam. She waited 3 months for Sam to plant it. My mother-in-law would also complain to my husband that she barely saw my son. He told her that she can come over to our apartment. She refused to because of her asthma and the AC unit that had in our apartment. We gave her the benefit of the doubt and started to go over. One of the time my husband was outside washing down the backyard and I was inside trying to get my son to sleep. My mother-in-law took advantage of the privacy and told me that I am as far as a cow and my husband will leave me for any woman that will cook and smile at my husband. Thinking she was looking for another reaction, I told her that I could care less if he left. She was surprised by my answer. Then she accused me of having an affair because I clearly do not care about my husband anymore. A few months later, I became pregnant with my daughter. Again we were looking into gazebos for the gender reveal and realized that they are more expensive than before. She offered to use her place again. I told her no, I'd rather not even do a gender reveal. She shamed me so much, saying that I don't love my daughter as much as I do my son. My husband then told her that I was because of her inviting Sam the first time. She told my husband, well, that's her fault that she's uncomfortable. My husband told her that she can simply not invite Sam and she responded with the same response as years ago, "This is my house, I can invite whoever I want." We ended up doing a virtual gender reveal instead. She was livid that it did not go her way. At this point we only see them at their house Christmas and they come over once in a blue moon. Anyway, mother-in-law, a few months ago, told my husband that she has grown to love me. Now my husband wants me to fix things with her. I don't. I'm absolutely tired of trying with her. Should I fix things with my monster-in-law? Update. I spoke with husband. I stated that he needs to understand my concerns of where I stand with him and how he should keep his word and give consequences to mother-in-law. I told him that I don't think it would be healthy for any kind of contact with her because of her track record of consistent 7 years treating me this way. My husband then proceeded to tell me that I need to get over it, stop being stagnant and leave the past in the past. The past? That was a year ago. My daughter just turned 1 last month, and there would have been more if I continued to talk to my mother-in-law. It's frustrating. I tried to tell him that what gives me the reason that she isn't going to just wait until my guard is down and start with this behavior again. He told me that I might not see it, but he sees that she has changed. Also, I asked him why she said she has grown to love me, and he told me because she saw the kind of mother that I am, that I do everything for my kids, juggling the two of them and work from home at the same time. I'm sorry, but I don't see that as a valid reason to grow to love someone. I feel like when you earn love, it is by actions and display of caring for that person. I definitely don't believe that act. Husband completely believes her. Sadly, I think I will actually have to just rip the band-aid off and show him this post. Maybe then he will open his eyes completely. Update 2. I decided to give my mother-in-law another chance, despite my strong reservations. When I arrived at her house, she greeted me with a big hug, but it felt forced and insincere. As she went to the kitchen to prepare some snacks, I followed her to help. That's when I overheard her talking to someone, laughing and calling me stupid, bragging about how I had no idea that the cookies she was about to serve were from Sam. She didn't realize I was standing right behind her, and luckily, I managed to record the whole conversation on my phone. I left her house without saying a word, completely disgusted by her behavior. When I got home, my husband asked why I left abruptly. Apparently, my mother-in-law had already texted him, claiming that I was still being spiteful and rude for leaving without permission. That's when I showed him the video. He was furious. He stormed outside, and I could hear him shouting at his mom, confronting her about everything. Meanwhile, I went upstairs and blocked her number because both she and Sam had started spamming me with messages. When my husband came back inside, he apologized, admitting that he should have known better. I don't blame him. She's his mom, after all. But as of today, we're officially going no contact with her. It's a relief, honestly, and I finally feel like we're on the same page about this toxic situation.